Hey everyone, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse, and today we're back with weekly update number 53. And let's just dive right into it. We'll start off with week in review. So this is the part of the video where I talk about things that have been going on, things that are coming up. And I guess first and foremost, it's finally feeling like things are starting to get a bit more under control. The past couple weeks have been insane. Orion was out, and then he was out a little bit more. It kind of took a while to get him back in, like fully back in. And this week he has been, which is been very, very helpful because I've got other things to do besides pack orders and check stuff in and all that kind of stuff. So having him back in during the week definitely helps bring a little bit more balance. I still have more going on than I'd like, hence why we're hiring somebody. But it's felt like a more manageable week and starting to dig out a little bit, which is good and feeling good. The other big thing happening this week has been actually the preparations for that new hire. I mentioned last week that everything was signed and official. He actually stopped by this week. It sounds like there may or may not be a delay in when he can start based on moving. He was checking out apartments in the area, stuff like that. So not really happy about there being a potential delay. But in the meantime, I have been doing some work to get ready. We ordered a computer for the new hire this week, monitors, all that kind of stuff. I still need a desk and I still need a chair. I think I've got a spare chair at home I could bring in, and I might be looking for a new chair for at home. I don't know. We'll have to see if anybody's got any great suggestions for desk chairs that are good, especially back support. My back's always hurting me. I'd love to hear them so I can figure that out. And we've also been in the same vein starting to tweak some internal process stuff, or looking at internal process. How do we go from an order being placed to inventory arriving, listings being created, to listings ultimately being posted on the website, because that's going to be something that the new hire gets plugged into, and we're trying to more formally define what that process is and get it ready for having another hand in that chain of custody, so to speak. And how do we manage that? Had some very productive discussion with Kate on Tuesday about it, and looking forward to not having to do everything. So it's been good, and I'm really looking forward to that point where I can start handing some of that stuff off, freeing myself up even more, and then the sky's the limit for executing on all the other ideas I have for the warehouse, and it'll be a really interesting chapter once we can make that flip. Two other things this week. Number one, the repaired contest is closing in. The deadline is a week from the day this video airs. So Friday, November 5th is the submission deadline. If you are working on your repaired contest, make sure you get it in by midnight on the 5th Eastern time, for those of you on the West Coast. Really looking forward to seeing the rest of those entries. We've gotten some so far, but I presume this next week is going to be when most of the entries get submitted, especially that last day, last couple hours maybe. So looking forward to my inbox blowing up with the notifications from the form. Do remember that it's mechawarehouse.com/pages/repaired, I think. Let me just find out what that is. Whatever it is, the link will be down here below and in the description. Yeah, pages/Mecha Warehouse presents repaired. So make sure you get your entry in if you're working on it, and make sure you get it done if you're working on it. And then finally, just going to touch on this briefly, but so far this month has already broken our monthly sales record. In fact, we broke it probably Saturday, I think, last week. We broke the record. So everything since then has just been icing on the cake, and with another big restock on the horizon, aka today, we're likely to blow away our monthly sales record, which is awesome. It shows growth. It's making me feel a lot more confident with having this new hire, that we're not stretching ourselves too thin. Hopefully November and December stay strong. I think they should with the holidays, but you never know what can happen. So, but it's good to see that we kind of pushed past the last plateau that we've been sitting at, roughly the same level for a few months, and get this new hire in, and things will just keep going, which is exciting. I don't know if I talk about it much, but I'm thrilled and excited to grow the business. I think I enjoy the process of growing the business more than working in the business, and just the idea of building out the systems and logistics to increase the size of the team, be able to delegate more stuff, and just do more things. I've got so many ideas for things I want to do, and potentially having the mental bandwidth to execute on those ideas is just really exciting for me. All that said, though, let's move on to pre-order. We added 8 new pre-orders on, I believe it was Wednesday. Mostly Hexagear stuff. Hexagear Governor's Queen's Guard, Hexagear Governor Ignite Spartan. Both, I think, mostly the same kind of design with a large lance. It looks kind of interesting. 2 of the more Hexagear, almost Zoid-looking type ones, Sieg Springer and Hexagear Weird Tails. Some interesting animal type designs. Hexagear Alternative Humanoid Jester, another of those governors. Those are those little smaller like Hexagear figures. And then there were also the 2 Everoids, the G Crawler and Roaring Fang. I don't know much about Everoids. They're interesting little, almost like chibi-ish designs. Might be worth checking out those pre-orders. And then a Fantasy Star kit that looks like it's essentially another Mecha Girl kind of design, and also pretty cool. I'm not sure if they're probably not on the website yet, although they could be, but sometime over the next few days, the remaining, I believe there's 4 more Gundam Breaker Battle Log kits that we just got confirmations on yesterday, as well as I think there's the entry grade RX-78 full armor. So I expect both of those, or all of those, to be on the website for pre-order sometime between now and probably Tuesday. So keep an eye out. We'll send an email out probably on Tuesday mentioning it. The Discord will get notified when they go up, but they will be added to the pre-order list very soon. And that's some exciting stuff too. I think those are all recolors, and I'll probably mention them again next week. That said, though, I think that's it for pre-orders. Let's move on to restocks. So, restocks this week. First and foremost, the one that everybody's been waiting for, and that I'm sure will sell out super fast, the RG High New. We got these in earlier this week. We got them checked in. All of our pre-orders that we could release, because all the items on the pre-order were in, went out. We've got maybe 40 or 50 of them left in stock, I think, after damage and after pre-orders, something in that ballpark. So they will be up on restock. Honestly, this video goes live half an hour after the restock usually goes up. So if you want one, hit pause, go check and see, because they definitely won't last the weekend. They most likely won't last the day, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make it to the 11:30 email time, or even to this video, just because it is such a hot kit, brand new release. Everybody's been talking about it, and tons of people have been asking me about them. We did get a few other cool kits in this week, though, as well. We got a reprint of the RG Unicorn Gundam. I've built the full armor variant of this. It's a decent version of the Unicorn if you're interested in that. We got the new Pokemon Greninja. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't think that one was part of the shows when I was into Pokemon as a young teenager. Another one-piece kit, Red Force, from the Grand Ship Collection. An old staple has been reprinted. This is the HG Barbatos Lupus Rex. I've heard decent things about this kit. One that we haven't seen, I think this is brand new to Mecha Warehouse, but it's a reprint, is the Age 2 Normal. We didn't get very many of these. I expect a few more to show up, I think, next week. But those will probably go pretty fast based on the number of people asking about them and just the low quantity. And we've had these a bunch over the last few weeks, but we got a few more. These were out of stock when I added these. So we've got the MG Epion, another solid kit. I don't know if those will go fast or slow. The quantities weren't that big, but we've had them in stock off and on for the past few weeks. We also got some paints, Mr. Hobby, Mr. Color stuff. We got a Tamiya and a Vallejo restock. Almost entirely stuff we've had before, but we did get the Vallejo paint kits. Let me go grab those. I should have that. All right. It's been a minute since we've had this, but this is the Vallejo Mecha Color 80-piece set of basically all the Mecha Color Vallejo paint line that we carry, but all in one box. This is how I got into painting. I grabbed one of these. They're not cheap, but it gives you basically everything in that paint line. So if you don't know which colors you want, the ability to just grab one and paint a spoon to compare and test out different color combinations. It's great, and it has this nice case with the pre-cut foam spots for all of them. It's a great way to store and transport your paints. We only got 4 of these. I know people have been asking about them a lot. I wanted a lot more. This is all they had available on this shipment. We've got a bunch more back ordered, so we should get them at some point. I expect these to probably go pretty quickly too, but worth grabbing if you are interested. And I think that's all for pre-orders or restocks this week. I can't speak. So let's move on to Q&A. Got a bunch of good questions this week. Before I start answering them though, remember that if you have a question, you can post it down in the comments below. It could be a question about Gunpla, Mecha Warehouse, myself, business, anything. And for the most part, I'll do my best to answer those questions. First question is from Kermie. Great vid, Nick. Congrats on a year of weekly updates. Thank you, Kermie. He says, my question is, what is the most you have paid for an out-of-print, extremely out-of-stock kit? I've considered buying some of the Kotobukiya Zone, the Ender's kits, but the prices have driven me off of the idea. That's a great question, and I don't think I have ever paid more than MSRP for a kit. I don't know for sure. I guess I could go back and look when I first got into the hobby and I was ordering things off of Amazon, because some of those might have been overpriced by a little bit, but if they were, they probably weren't overpriced by a lot. I'm not totally sure though. I've always either gotten things at retail or purchased them like from P Bandai, for example. So purchased at retail price, or I get them basically through the warehouse here with my employee discount / marketing budget. So with all that said, I don't think I've ever overpaid. And my recommendation to anybody out there buying kits is to be aware of what the average retail price is for a kit, and try to avoid overpaying for kits in general. If you go on eBay, there's a very good chance you might find a kit that just isn't available anywhere, but might be 50%, 200% more expensive than it should be because it's been out of print. If you really need that kit now, it might be worth it. If you don't need it urgently, it's probably worth waiting around for it to show up at the right price. Most of the Bandai stuff, quite a lot of it does get reprinted every couple years, every few years. There's a few that have never been reprinted. So there's some kits that risk is higher that you'll never be able to find it. But I think that's why most of us end up with backlogs. You grab the kits you can now when they're at a good price, and then on a rainy day when you need something to build, you have something and you're not paying 2 or 3x the price for it. That said, if you're doing a contest or you really need that kit now, you might have to play those games and overpay. But I do not. I refuse. Okay, next one. Ethan says, hey Nick, I have a question. The owner of my local hobby shop says that Bandai plans to ramp production back up to near pre-pandemic levels by the end of the first quarter 2022. Have you heard anything to corroborate that on your end? And so not really. As far as I know, Bandai is pretty much at capacity and has been at capacity. Part of the reason we've had shortages because A, shipping issues, and B, they've been sending stuff to all sorts of countries, right? Bandai supplies the whole world with gunpla, not just the U.S. And so one of the things that I have seen and seems to be changing more recently is that they're actually playing with the distribution ratios of how much goes to this country versus that country. So I think the U.S. is getting a little bit bigger piece of the pie going forward. It's a growing market. There's a lot of potential business here, and I think Bandai doesn't want to lose that by not undersupplying and have people lose interest. I think is a risk, and so I think they've been adapting to that. They might be working on expanding capacity, but I have not yet heard of anything regarding a new factory or expanding the factory. It's possible. But as far as I know, they're more or less at capacity and probably working on that with a fix somewhere on the horizon. Who knows when? All right. Next question is from RX178 Mark II, and he asks, what do you do with the empty box when the kit is finished? So far, personally, I've basically just been piling them up. I wouldn't mind doing what like some people do, where they cut the cover off. The cover artwork is often great, and you can cut that artwork off and frame them. Some people make cool like 3D installations out of them to hang on their wall. I've seen them done like under coffee tables, under a plate of glass, which is really cool. And I'll probably do something along one of those lines, maybe decorate the new hobby room at home, and something like that maybe. The only other thing that I do with them, though, is use them for organizing parts and projects and stuff like that. But I essentially have a pile of boxes somewhere. It's a little bit depressing. Okay, moving on. Do I have any further questions? Last one is from Crazy Rabbit. If you're not meant to strangle geese, then why do the hands of a human fit so well around the legs of the tallgeese? I'm not sure how to answer this, but you sound like a psychopath. Mostly kidding. I have no idea. No idea at all. All right. That's all I have for questions. So remember, if you have a question, you can post it down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer it next week. Thank you, and catch you next time. Later.